The 5 reasons you should buy the Sony 200-600. Number 1, the price. Now this lens comes in at around 2,500 new or 2,000 used, which may seem like a lot if you're coming from an entry-level lens. But for what you get out of this lens, that is a fantastic price. Consider that the next step up from this is probably around $6,000 to $7,000, or even up to $15,000 or $20,000. So at this price range, it is amazing. Number 2, the image quality. Now I've just said that this is a fantastic lens for this price range, and that is because the image quality and the sharpness you get out of this lens is spectacular. And many professional wildlife photographers use this as either their main lens or their backup lens. And if you're currently using something like the Sony 70-350 or the Sigma 100-400, this is a major upgrade from those two lenses. 3 is the zoom range. Now this goes from 200 to 600 obviously. Now 600 millimeters for me is a great focal distance for wildlife photography. Typically wildlife is pretty far away and difficult to get to, so being able to zoom into 600 millimeters is pretty fantastic. Not only that, but if you pair this with a high megapixel camera, you'll be able to crop in significantly and either really get in on those sharp details or just crop a lot to fill the frame with your subject. And because this is such a sharp lens, like I just mentioned, you can get a lot out of cropping with your cameras too. And having 200 on the wide end is also really nice. Not only can I zoom out and take a wider angle shot and try to fill some more of the environment in it, but I can also use it to track my animals. So if I see a bird flying in the air with my eyes and I just stick my lens up at 600 millimeters, I'm probably not going to be able to find it, or it's going to be very difficult for me to track that bird and lock it in with the autofocus. But what I'll often do is zoom out to 200 millimeters and spot it, and then just quickly zoom in and I'll be right on target. Number 4, the internal zoom. So on the topic of zooms, not only does this zoom from 200 to 600, but it has an internal zoom. So as we turn from 200 to 600, just like that, obviously you see that there's no kind of barrel that comes out of the lens, which is something you get from the Sigma 100-400, the Sony 70-350, and also even the Sony 100-400 G Master. Now, this is really good because if you are trying to balance this lens on something like a gimbal or any kind of fluid head, you can balance it, and if you have to zoom out, it's not going to kind of teeter and you won't have to rebalance your gimbal. It's also really helpful for keeping out dust and moisture out of your lens, especially if you're somewhere very tropical or somewhere like out on a safari where there's a lot of sand that might get kicked up. Now, with that internal zoom, you get a really nice throw. So the throw is being able to change from 200 to 600. So I just go like this, and I'm at 600. And that's really nice because usually when your barrel extends when you zoom out, it takes a lot longer. You need to zoom it quite a bit more before it gets out to that full focal distance. And now it's really easy. So again, if I see a bird, I can quickly shoot out to 200 and then find the bird and I'm back to 600 very easily. Number 5, the size and weight. So obviously this is still a pretty big lens, especially if you are coming from an entry-level wildlife photography kit. And if you're not a photographer at all, people will definitely see this lens and say, wow, what a massive lens you have. But if you compare this to other lenses like the 600mm f4 or the 400mm 2.8, then really this is quite a bit smaller. And you'll be able to take this traveling, you can fit it into smaller bags, and you still get 600mm out of it. Not only that, but it is incredibly light for its size, and I have no issues carrying it around with me for an extended period of time while I'm out, and I honestly hardly ever put it on a tripod. So guys, that is 5 reasons why I think you need to be getting the 200-600 from Sony if you are able to fork over that $2,000 or $2,500 price tag. Just remember that the lens is so much more important than the camera, and you should really be investing in your lens first and figure out what body you should be pairing with that. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and shoot some wildlife.